Hello, my name is Cameron Mireles, and I'll be doing my project over my internship with the City of Corpus Christi Utilities Department. So a little academic background on myself. I am a junior in college right now, and I'm majoring in GIS and surveying. I want to stick with the surveying aspect of GIS. I don't mind doing the inside office work, but my goal is to become a surveyor for the future. GIS was actually not my first choice coming into college. I wanted to do mechanical engineering but changed it during freshman orientation, and so far it's been a great decision. A little company background. So I work with the utilities department, and it's been running since 1852. The department I work in specifically is a GIS and engineer office. We work with several objects that are in the water system. These kind of include hydrants, water valves, meters, the pipes themselves, and how they're inputted into the ground. There are several other aspects of the water system, but these are the main ones that I've experienced while my time with the city. My job in particular is called a GPS technician. However, what I do is survey new and old water system areas. Depending on projects, my main objects are hydrants and water valves. As well, I also build maps based off of the GPS points that I get on and off the field. I mainly do projects that are given to me, not so much ones that are already done into the GIS. The last jobs I do that are beyond surveying, that are more in the office, are editing projects that are already created but do need edits in the GIS. So these are more of the ones that have been surveyed by other people that are brought back into the office. And for these particular ones, I go through, make sure all the edits are correct, and if they are, they're pressed through and the GIS system holds them. So one of my biggest projects I worked on while interning with the city is the North Beach rehab. This is the biggest project I've gotten as an intern. We updated the entire water system for the North Beach area. This included me GPSing the entire area for new hydrants, valves, water meters, as well as lines and their paths that the water lines were put into. After taking all of these points, I redrew up all the water system with the points that I had GPS on the GIS software. Now, this was probably the harder part of the process of completing this project, was the actual installing onto the GIS form. I'm going to show you a couple pictures that I did. So here's the first one. This is a small section that was actually rebuilt, including water lines, valves, hydrants, meters, and more. As you can see, there's callouts suggesting what's what. There's hydrants, there's valves, there's meters, there's 90-degree bends in the line, and the blue line that you see there is the actual line that I drew in myself, and how it's running through the certain area of North Beach. The second map here is, as you can see, the picture has a lot more callouts, has more going on and throughout the entire picture. This is just because there was more added to this part. There was more lines running through the area. So because of the more lines running, there was hydrants and valves placed more throughout this specific part of North Beach. And this last picture I have is more of an overlay of the entire North Beach area. As you see, there's phase 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3 are more of what we did in the actual project ourselves. We GPS this entire area. As you can see with phase 4, it's not so much something that we rebuilt, but they actually abandoned certain things over there that weren't going to be used for the new water system that was installed. So as you can see, 1, 2, and 3 are our main areas, and this overlay sticks specifically with this showing the lines and how they run through, along with how you could see the hydrants. You can see the valves in particular areas along with the water meters, but the overall lay was just to show the specific area that we had our project on, and just made it a more advanced look on what we did and complete as we completed the project. So another small project I worked on was a neighborhood project. It was on Upriver Road here in Corpus Christi. The project was a reconstruction of the water system that actually ran through the area. This included doing new hydrants, valves, meters, along with adding new line to the area. Along with adding new, we also abandoned unnecessary lines that were running through the streets that were either old or needed new piping in general. Along with the new lines, we also did valves. The valves that were capped off that were not needed were actually covered over and are not in use anymore for the city. Now to show you a picture of what we did in specific to this area, this is just a small picture of of what we actually did. But this section shows a dark blue line and a light blue line. The dark blue line is actually a new line that they wanted to install into the area, and the blue line is what's connecting the new and the old to it. The new line that was installed was actually a 16-inch line compared to what the light blue line is, an 8-inch line. The green dots that you see on this map specifically show valves. In this specific area, there were quite a few valves that were actually added to the new system, whereas there's a couple of valves on here that were abandoned. They're not going to be used anymore, and the area has now a completed water movement in this specific area. Now that the water valves are placed in this area, they have their new sizes, their new water flows, and the old ones are again covered over so that no one comes back just to see them and don't get confused with what's out there on the field. So some smaller projects that I do, besides the North Beach project and the one on Upriver Road, I look over projects that need small editing, such as fixing line flow or objects on the map. These are more consistently with projects that are complete, but need just more of an overview of the concepts of what's going on in the map. This goes along with updating maps on the city's GIS database, so anything that's on the database that needs revising will be revised, and if it's completed, it's okay to pass through, but if not, there's editing that's going to be needed. There's also acceptance letters that I just recently started doing, which shows projects being processed and need to be looked over to make sure that the project's complete and everything is as made on the projects given to us. If something needs to be changed, something's changed, and we process the letter and make sure that the acceptance runs through. Here's a small picture of one that I did. This area actually, this in the red box that I created, the red dots that you see are fire hydrants, along with the purple lines that are connecting to the actual water line in the area. The two hydrants and the two valves, along with the line connecting, were actually not there. So when I was given this project, it was to go in and redraw this system to make sure that those hydrants and valves were there and everything was flowing correctly. Again, this is just a smaller project that I received to kind of add on to other bigger projects that I had completed. So knowledge for college has actually helped me a lot. GIS mapping was actually not as hard since I had some experience in the classroom, along with surveying. Surveying at school helped a lot while I was at work. Along with the tools and concepts of GIS, some of the stuff that was explained to me I had already had knowledge of because of classes that I have taken, especially in my surveying areas. I also felt comfortable using the GIS software and surveying equipment. There's plenty of things that I used that we had discussed in class or used in class that I was able to use at work, and from there on I felt comfortable using the city's equipment and not messing it up. Now, there were some things that I wish I would have learned through for college, but I think this is a more advanced area. I would have liked to learn how to work with engineers and field crews that I dealt with while I went out to survey. I would like to understand their steps, keeping up with their pace, and understanding how they talk out on the field. Also, I would like to, some of the editing that we did in GIS was a little confusing just because from what we went to from in class compared to what we did at work was pretty different. However, the tools were kind of where it was more advanced at work. There were some tools I had never covered in class that I had struggled with to find. However, in the long run, college helped out a lot. I was quite comfortable in my work environment, and overall, I mean, I was comfortable. It was a great time and it was a great experience. My experience was great. I learned several new things in and outside the office. I look forward to progressing with this internship and hopefully learning more for my future job and continuing on in my GIS future and my surveying and making sure that everything that I learned is progressing and so forth, and hopefully I continue on with the city and make a life out of it with and for my future. Thank you.